Hello everyone. Today I am really pleased and happy that I can bring someone who I met on my spiritual journey, who is very special, who did incredible work with me. And I will never forget that day when we met. And this is everyone, Eve Zepernick. And let me tell you first how I came across Eve, because this is a very special story. It was 2016 when I saw Eve for the first time on internet, on YouTube, and she was giving an interview to someone. And in an instant, I felt very strong, spiritual, beautiful energy behind her. And her message, her knowledge, and her wisdom was something that really shook me. And I said to myself, I have to meet this lady. So what have I done? I booked myself a trip on my birthday following year, and I went to Maui. Paia, I think it was the name of the place where Eve used to live. And I booked a session with Eve, a past life regression session. And we've spent together almost 4 hours. But before that, I remember the very first moment when I saw Eve waiting for me outside the house, and I saw her eyes, and our eyes met. I felt like I've known her for ages. So this is very long introduction, but I want to welcome Eve. I'm so happy that she responded to me after all those years, because we just saw each other once in our lifetime, this lifetime. And I know that many of our viewers now will benefit from this conversation, because Eve does a lot of work with past life regression, quantum healing, hypnosis. She is one of the people, when I look back in my life, who I can describe as someone who is very present in the moment and is not attached to anything, yet is very aware of everything. So welcome, Eve. Thank you for being here with me.
Thank you, Ania, and thank you for your very generous introduction. Thank you.
So let me ask you first question that I have for you. Your communication with nature, with trees and with crystals and with sculpture is something very special. How is this unfolding right now in your life, since we haven't spoken for many years? Can you describe this to viewers, how you communicate with different forms of existence, let's call it this way?
It's actually built into the human design. So everybody is able to do this. It's about merging into the unified field of awareness. And there's a lot of the indigenous have it naturally. They're at one with the earth. They're slow in the ways that they can be connected to the heartbeat of the planet. And in fact, when you are connected to the heartbeat of the planet, there's a foundational wholeness that's created in the natural world. Because the truth is, there is no separation, and everything has consciousness, everything has awareness. So the source of all of us can speak through everything, through the uniqueness of that emanation, whether it's a plant or a tree or an animal or another human, whether they're in a body, whether they are, from a past life and they've crossed to the other side. It matters not whether they're in a body or, temporally speaking, in time. They could have lived in a body at any time, and you can talk to the energy emanation of source with that, as well as the ultra, inter, and extra dimensional beings. They're all available.
Behind you is this beautiful tree, Eve. And I'm looking at you and I see this tree behind you, and it's just so special, the energy field right there. But let me ask you now about past life regressions, because you were the second person in my life that I actually allowed and asked to do this kind of work with me, which is very intimate and is very sacred work. Can you tell me how you came across this? Because that was one of the most profound experiences I had in my life. So I would like to know your journey to that point when you started to do it, and you still do it, right?
I do still do that. And I don't read for people so much anymore, because empowering others with their ability to inherently see and feel and know the wealth of information in the Akashic, is for everybody. It's like it's a free library for everybody. And it belongs to everybody. And we all played all sides, both sides of duality, the good, the bad, the dark, the light. It's all of ours. So we can take out a book from that library anytime. And it takes a lot of trust, as you said, to open yourself up to be that vulnerable to receive the information. Giving is controlling. You can control what you give in a much more articulated way, and the mind can be involved in the giving. The receiving has to be with an open hand, an open heart, an open mind. So creating a space where someone can open that much to receive the gift of themselves is always a gift for everybody. And it's always my great honor to be able to hold space for someone to shine their true light, their true knowingness through themselves, because they share that with the world.
Do you find it sometimes challenging for certain people? Because like for me, I remember that I've been like jumping almost, if we can use this term, from one life into another. And there were several, multiple lifetimes actually I went back into. So I would say I was easy case. But are there individuals that were not able to even go back to past life? If I would like to know, did you ever experience that? Like someone came to you and they were not able to tap into that time frame?
It takes a willingness to be that open.
Okay.
It takes a willingness because the mind, especially the left brain, that wants to put things in boxes and organize things and analyze and give opinion. And it's a very important feature in our design, in our mental design, to be able to synthesize all the information coming in format, in a format way. However, in order to access the imaginal realm where we're using our extrasensory perceptions, that's a right brain activity.
Mm-hmm.
And so much of the technological age that we're in, many people have learned to flex the muscle
Yeah.
of their left brain, so their right brain is atrophied. And it's as simple as that. You just have to switch the awareness to a different part of the brain where you see pictures. And for some of us, we kept flexing that muscle. But for others who have been very structurally focused and scientifically focused and linear focused, it can be very more challenging for them, and it's only because they just haven't practiced.
Yes.
But it is still available to them, so they have to have beginner mind when they come in, and they have to they have to practice a little bit. And as they get warmed up, if they have the beginner mind, if they're curious, like a little child, an innocent child, and they don't have to figure it out or understand, but they're a good sport about it, then as they start talking, they actually hypnotize themselves with their own voice, and more they can access the imaginal, where the shamans go, where the mystics go, where the gurus, the yogis can go, to stream that bandwidth of waveform in the gamma and theta brainwave state, where they can receive a different kind of information.
You know, Eve, thank you for this. Just when you were talking about it, this memory came to me when I was actually in your house and you were helping me with that experience. And I remember hearing my higher self. And my higher self was communicating with me. And there was this sense of friendship and always being there for me, and the sense of calmness that many of people have forgotten, that we always have this within us. And it's actually us guiding us. Is if I phrase this correctly or the right way, it's me guiding me. So in the last years, especially in the last year, I actually mentioned this today on another social media platform, on Instagram, that I am receiving so many downloads of messages or events or specific situations that I knew I always had this ability, but it was like appearing once a while, and then it was a big break in between, and life was like a hustle, and then it was another download, and now I feel there is different energy field around me, another frequency, and it just comes and it's always there, and I always have this access to it. It's really up to me if I request this or connect with this on the sensual level, like it's sense. It's not even verbalized, it's not even a thought form. Well, it is kind of received sometimes as a thought form, but the quest is more like on the heart level. So you, in that interview that I came across you for the first time, you were already talking about what is actually occurring right now. You were already so ahead. Now I see you the same way. You are already ahead of many, and it's okay, it's not judgment, but it's just observation of many people who are evolving into certain level, let's say, of evolution, right? How do you see this right now for overall humanity, if the energy and the where are we now as the humankind? How you see this?
Well, we all stand on the shoulders of each other, you know, and we all are in this together.
Yeah.
And the state of what seems that everything's coming to the surface in this, you know, this very creative time where everything is changing and yet everything is unknown. And we're all wondering what really is the truth. And everything that has been created in 2020 and beginning in 2021 is really moving us to find our answers within. Because we're getting so many conflicting sides, our friends, our family, one person's saying one thing, one's another. And then, you know, you go on media and it's a free-for-all, literally everywhere. And so, you know, some people like to be in the, you know, in the choppy waves. Some people like to ride the ski bumps, you know, and they like the sensationalism of it all and the drama of it all. And so they like to get in there and really feel it, you know, and fight against it and, you know, really get in there. And that is perfect for them to experience and to feel what is right in a very, in a way that involves their whole body and their mind coming into a fruition. And other people don't need quite as much stimulus about it. They can expand out and look at the big picture rather than the unique, you know, moment by moment, because everything changes.
Yes.
Everything is changing. And so what's so important and so heightened for everybody's big question mark right now, what's right for me? The entirety of this planet and the human collective, this spaciousness that has been provided is helping people to reach, to drop to a level of rhythm where the heartbeat of the earth is more accessible. You know, the natural rhythm, as opposed to being very sped up and disconnected from each other and disconnected from the natural world. And even though it seems like there's a lot of separation happening and a lot of connection being made through the technical world, there's also this incredible opportunity for the connection to be more in the unified field. And so that is coming online. That's coming online without technological help, is that spaciousness for the individual to go within and feel that truth for themselves.
Yes.
So I think those are some of the keynotes of the potentials that are being realized in particularly 2020, but into 2021 as well. And I think that these keynotes are helping to enliven, develop the unified field of all of our awareness.
So beautiful. And when you were saying that, it's truly when we go within, there is no more need for competition or war or harm. Because if you are aligned with yourself, you operate from a different place and you are secure with yourself and you're safe with yourself because you always have this. No one can take this away from you, really. And we've been trained to look outside for the answers. I'm not saying guidance. I believe that we have soul contracts and we meet certain people on our life paths for a reason. There's always a reason, but it comes to the point when we can choose, do we still have to look for validation or confirmation or anything of that nature, or we can literally ask our higher self, the divine within us.
Beautiful. Yes.
And then actually we can truly be in presence of another person and accept the uniqueness and diversity, right?
Mm-hmm.
So on a little bit different note, you work, I think you still do, tell me if you don't, if with different entities when you do the healing work. I would like to ask you, it's more out of curiosity, the entities that are in the fifth or higher dimensions, is there a way you could describe them to me?
You know, to be honest with you, I don't individuate at all. I rarely use a name to call in any particular stream. I access the source of all awareness from the apex of all awareness, and I stream from there. And I ask for the highest and best through all levels, bodies, densities, and realities, inter, extra, and ultra dimensional beings. Because at the source level, as a source seed, as we all are, I can't know, you know, which part of the symphony would be played best. And to include all of it, there's no agenda when you include all of it. It's in a place of perfection, and the harmony is perfect. So when I can access the place where everything is, and it is at the highest and best for me as the channel, then I don't have to pull out one single note and be playing that, because that sets the whole off balance. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Is there any dominant, let's say, do you have, and I will just like paraphrase it, do you have like the same helpers or the same field of energy that is always like archangels, or is there a certain type of like represented by certain energy that you know they are always within this to guide through your work? Or it depends on the, it depends, how is that?
It depends on the moment.
Okay.
Oftentimes, you know, a consortium is created and I'll recognize that. Sometimes the orientation is such that it's definitely an extraterrestrial consortium.
Okay.
And other times it'll be an Earth related entity consortium. Every now and again, Ania, I long for a little bit of a warm fuzzy. I'll want something familiar, right? And so with that, I'll say, give me something familiar, whatever is highest and best. But I would like to be able to recognize something that the human part of me can easily connect with. And in that moment, something will come in where I recognize what has come in. And with that familiarity, there's an easy transmission that happens. But truly, I don't have a go-to anymore because everything is available all the time. And I never want to, you know, from this perspective of my humanity, what I think is the best for everybody in some transmission, you know, here I am, I can only see so much in the body, but when I surrender to the source awareness that has the view from the tippy top, I know that I'm in the very best hands possible.
Yes.
So I try not to name names, because even in the naming of a name,
you're limiting that. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because even those soul entities that came in as some of the avatars, you know, like the Buddha, or, you know, these familiar characters that archetypically landed and expanded the field with their experiential creation, out of the form, there's so much more. And so by naming the name, you're limiting the stream.
You just, something just came to me, because we are holding on to this certain archetype, and that archetype already has expanded. So we are in a way, we are limiting them now by the memory of the archetype.
Yes. And all the old archetypes are changing. all the old archetypes are being retired,
Oh my gosh.
because the new paradigm, this new quantum leap that we're all in, for the higher iteration of the human design, the evolution of our DNA,
Yes, yes, yes,
you
yes.
know,
Yep.
we're going to have new archetypes, and they're going to be so much more expanded than the old ones. The old ones got us through a certain density and a certain focus, and they were teaching tools. And now the greater consciousness, the greater awareness is blowing all of that out. And especially as we become more galactically and cosmically aligned with how much more is available to happen throughout this reality than we've been focused on.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know,
It's
we're
something.
not even
No,
going to recognize those old archetypes.
no, it's
They're
amazing.
being retired.
Yeah, but if no, for real, I feel like when you just said this, another thing came to me, that as they were the example, the symbol of certain virtues or choosing
Mhm.
life or way of living, that was the inspiring part. But there was, I don't like this word, I don't use it too often. Well, I will use it, but in a soft way. But there was a danger of comparing self to them, which is again lacking something, which is again not being enough. So there you have this symbol of enlightenment, who perhaps very much likely wasn't perfect in the early stage either. And then you're comparing yourself to someone who's supposed to really be the light to guide you to your. So it's in a way it's very, very twisted when you think about it, because at the end of the day we are truly our own light. We are the light. And you said this in this interview so beautifully. You said we all came from the stars. I love that. We all came from the stars. So we came from different stars.
And from what I have received, the Earth was a star before she became a planet. And so we're very much a part of the Earth. We are her elements. There is a consciousness and awareness that speaks through all the planets and all the stars, as it's all part of the fabric of the source of all. So there can be a unique stream of the energy configuration that comes through all entity awarenesses. So, but in terms of, the contextual makeup of our physicality, we are made of the elements of this planet.
Yes.
So that's as important as the imprints of the awareness from all of the other possible ways for awareness to have an experience in other realities, whether they be interdimensionally on Earth or extradimensionally throughout the cosmos. The cosmic akashic is also available, and some aspects of our humanity are able to channel the cosmic awareness as well. Different realities, different life forms, different types of living and being there. It's very exciting that everything is opening up.
And how is this in relation to Hawaii? Because that area where you are, that was Lemuria, right? Before Lemuria.
Lemuria was an age. It was a place, but it was also an age of the earth existence, of the human being being created and having experience here. The mythology is that, yes, the Hawaiian Islands and all of the Polynesian islands that are spread all over the Pacific are part of Lemuria, and the tips of the mountains, some of it's underwater.
Yeah.
But the earth has moved and changed so much over the course of its existence that that there's so much above water, below water, and that it's moved and shifted and rearranged itself.
But do you think you've been called there, Eve? You've been called to that part of the earth? Is it like you feel that is your home as far as on the earth plane?
For now.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a sense of attachment. I go when I'm called, where I'm called. What is truly remarkable about living in this particular place is that we're surrounded by so much air and space and water here. And the land portion is much smaller. So when the elements are in balance in that way, it's very easy to access other dimensional realities and the dream state,
Yes.
the song lines,
Wow.
because the elements are so fluid and airy that makes travel really easy. You have to be really grounded, though, to be able to survive here because there is a lot less.
The energies are like pulling in different directions.
Yeah, they're fluid. They're
Fluid.
movable.
Yes.
So you can be constantly recreating yourself.
Wow.
In that format. There's less resistance with the wind, the water, the air, the spirit, and land is more structured.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have a spiritual, or you're interested in more spacious exploration of other realities, the platform here makes it very easy to explore that and to transduce energy itself, light itself, because the elements are very forgiving in that way and easy to work with.
And especially in the last year, that was really great place to be, wasn't it? As far as nature, because people who were in the cities, their experiences were completely different. And
Yeah.
you are very, very evolved spiritually. And when I think now, trying to envision yourself, like you in this situation of last year, I see someone who is not emotionally reacting or affected, or angry or frustrated, like you are rising above that. It doesn't mean you don't acknowledge this. You see what's happening, but you have a different perception of it. That's how I perceive you. And at the same time, I just know in my heart that you have a lot of compassion for someone who is suffering, because you see that too. You acknowledge this. So it's like you are out of this world, but you're still in this world in a way.
I'll say that the ability for me to connect to the natural world and be close to it, it feeds me. Mm-hmm. It nourishes me greatly. And I have a lot of respect for people that have chosen, the more urban places to live, that are, spiritual beings in urban places as well. I know for me that because I'm so sensitive, mm-hmm. Those places are, there's so much more stimulus going on that to find the spaciousness and the solace and the literally the prana for me, the food of nature, you know, feeds me. So I think it's more about the way that I'm made and the way that I operate best. But everybody has their
Yes.
their unique gifts, their unique excellence, and I bow to whatever. I'm amazed at the things that people are able to do and the ways that they thrive. So I don't necessarily think that one thing is better than another, but I do feel like when people in urban environments stopped moving so quickly in their doingness,
Yep.
that they became aware that they desired to be closer to nature, to have more space in their life,
Yes.
to feel more connected to their body, to be more aware of their emotions and what was really serving them in the inside of themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, if can I ask you, what would you say? What kind of work now do you do, mainly? If someone would like to contact you, is it still past life regression or any other forms of spiritual help that you can provide to people?
You know, I love helping people to empower themselves. I love being really creative with anyone's unique desire to explore a different facet of themselves or grow a different part of themselves. So I have a few areas of some journeys that I can take them on, that I can guide them through for them to be able to explore different parts of themselves, different states of their own awareness. Um, and a lot of it I make up as I go along. You know, I put a few things into words on my website, and then whenever I connect with someone, it's always, well, to be honest with you, it's always brand new.
Okay.
And they're the ones that tell me, they may not know it, but they teach me how to be more creative, because everyone who I play with in the quantum field comes with a unique energy signature and a unique aspect that they want to explore. So I have to meet them wherever they are, and we just go together. It's a co-creation. We
Yes.
make it up together, but it's a place where I really like to play. So it's really fun. And inevitably, they're the leader. They think I am, but like I said, they hypnotize themselves. They're the ones that tell me how to respond to them and where to go to set up just the right scenario for them to inhabit a part of themselves that they cannot see, or to touch a place within themselves that they know is there, but they're not quite sure how to reach it.
So if someone will say that they feel ready to have a past life regression with you, how it looks nowadays? Because ultimately we know that we will be able to travel and do this, like I did with you. But how does it work now? Like, do you do this over the phone? How does
Yeah,
how do
remotely.
wow.
I do a lot of the, and it doesn't really matter. You don't actually have to be in your body in the same space to be able to create a quite ultimate experience together. It can really be done remotely. In fact, the resonance after I get off a Zoom call with someone, sometimes I'm meditating for hours after a call, because the greater part of whatever being that I've just been engaged with comes in, and there's a whole dance that goes on and on afterwards.
Incredible.
Yeah, so it's really, it's fun. It's fun. So yes, there's a lot that can be done remotely. I work with people all over the world, and the embodiment of the new energies that happen, the new awareness, is all it takes is the belief and the intention, and anything can be created anywhere.
Yeah, so amazing. But can you tell me, do you feel this now? Do you have an awareness of this? Since I saw you that time, how that energy is spreaded, of awakening, of rising frequency, how that energy actually expanded more over the planet, because I do literally feel it. On the contrary, what media is showing, I feel the rising up of humanity in a very, very beautiful way, actually. You do?
Yes, that's what I see, and that's what I focus on. And what I notice is that, you know, we are the masters and creators of our reality. So every quantum leap that we take in our emanations, and how we attune our mind to the reality that we want to participate in, we're attracting those beings that are enlightening, that are enlightened, and that are opening to new awareness. What I notice is that with friends and family who have a different exploration and orientation, that they are on their own path, and sometimes they are on a path where the suffering and the struggle are the best teachers.
Yes. Yes.
And so it's no greater than or less than. It just is. And so to have, wherever people are, to truly just honor their exploration,
Yes.
without opinion,
Yeah. It's
without
hard.
having
It's
to
hard.
change it or fix it.
It's hard though,
To
but
just,
yeah.
it doesn't have to be hard, but there is some letting go, from, at least from my standpoint, from that my egoic side that has wanted to fix or change or help or harmonize or counsel, whatever I gave value to as from the ego, like this is my role, my image, my job, my identity. And that ends up being a bunch of baggage. And so in order to be even freer and more clear and more spacious and more available to bring in a higher range of perspective, letting go,
Yes.
letting go of anything anyone is doing
Yes.
as being, having a judgment about it. Where it affects me personally and what I want to create on the planet, I can make choices about that. I can make choices about what I want to participate in. But I've found it to be in a conversation with somebody or in a relationship with somebody, if I can be totally neutral and unconditionally loving, I don't have to say anything. And the clarity of the mirror in the resonance that we have is enough for them to see and feel themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And then they can decide within themselves if they want to change. And that's far better than me telling them something, because
So
it's coming from within.
We really are I would say working. We really are coming to a certain place within ourselves to be that holding space. But that is really our job to do this. I don't like those words, but it's really our choice, but it's also our evolution, it's also our expansion to come to this space of holding the space. And this actually, it again, like it's all practice really. It's in the beginning challenging, but I tell you, if like where I am in California and I see, for example, I don't know how it's in Hawaii, but I see people who are on the beach and they are covering their faces and they prevent themselves from breathing the fresh air. And there are days when I just allowed this and I pass that, but there are days when I feel it triggers something in me that is, why you're doing this to yourself? Why you hurting yourself, Why you preventing yourself from this fresh air by the beach, from the ocean? And then I say to myself, who am I really to judge them? Because maybe not maybe, very much so, their soul has chosen that experience. And that's exactly their right to have it. Right? Anyway. So I want to ask if you can mention your website, what is the best way to contact you, and anything else you want to add for those who are interested in your work and would like to contact you and do some work with you.
My website is soullovesong.com, and that's a great way to reach me and to see some of the possibilities of ways we can work. I'm always open to a creative spin. If someone has something in mind that's a little bit different, or they're curious to create something in the quantum, maybe they have some ideas around quantum creation. And yeah.
Thank you.
I mean, that's how the dream is happening. Each of us has a dream, and that's helping others to land their dream, right? To materialize their dream is fun, especially when it's for everyone.
Yes.
Is everybody's revelation, everybody's involution creates the evolution for all of us. Yeah, evolution can happen without involution. And this time that we've all come into a rhythm of thoughtfulness, of awareness, has been an involutionary time. And hopefully that will propel us into an evolution, into a higher and even better exploration of our humanity and relationship.
Thank you so much, Eve. I really, really appreciate your time today. I'm so glad we were able to connect.
Thank you.
And it's very special for me to have you here today, because I was in a very different place when I met you in my life. I was dominated by certain emotions that were throwing me all over the place. And it's interesting how life is unfolding in its own beautiful way. So thank you so much.
You're so welcome. You know, I just remember you being once again, you know, a sacred mirror where you were moving so fast, you were pure light, and you just needed someone to help you to stand on the other side so that you could enter your body, so that you could ground that light because your frequency was so high. And you just needed a friend to bounce off some of the light so that it could land. And it has landed. Look at you. You've created a book. You're articulating these, you know, these very evolved ideas, and you're sharing it with the world now. You have found your voice, and you're fearless. You're fearless, you're courageous in your expression.
Oh, thank you, Eve. You made me grow.
Yes.
You know, I remember when I came to you. Oh, I think someone is calling. It's a good picture, though. It's a very good picture. I like this. I love the flowers, by the way, too. I think someone was calling. That happens often. You know, I remember.
Actually, it was my battery on my phone. I had to unplug it.
Okay.
In order to stand it upright like this, I usually keep it plugged in, but the battery's running low because I had to unplug it so it would stand properly.
I will tell you briefly before we disconnect. When I came to you, I was in a place that I was so burned out working in this fashion industry for all those top designers. And I will never forget this. I want to say this here because this is a strange memory, Eve. It's very strange memory. I know it's awkward, even the story is awkward, but I just remember this moment. I don't know why this stuck with me. When I came to you, I was wearing like flip-flops by one of the designers, okay? And I still remember this logo, and I felt so awkward wearing this logo and going for this past life regression. I felt like I'm not this anymore, and I'm still wearing this. So yeah, I mean, you know, I'm not saying like I still love like Chanel handbag. Maybe if I need to go somewhere, I don't need this now, but who knows? I'm not saying I need it, but it was like I felt so out of it, like out of sync. And I said, why am I still doing this? Like, it's like a protection, significance, whatever the energy was.
My sense is that these were identifications with a humanity that was in form. It helped you to be able to get yourself into a form where you could understand the structure. And so the names, but then it's like a costume and you take it off.
Yeah, it was such a costume. It was like painful costume ultimately. But Eve, thank you. Thank you so much. I hope to connect again in the future. We see how this unfolds.
Yes, and best wishes with your YouTube channel and your book and all the ways that you are connecting people. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for doing what you do.
Thank you. Thank you for your work. And when I can go to Hawaii, then I will definitely go to Kauai, because that is my dream island to see. I haven't been there. Now you're there, so maybe one day I will get there.
Okay.
Thank you.
Sounds good.
Thank you so much.
Aloha.
Aloha.